Brittany, great job using the standard algorithm, but make sure you read and follow directions carefully. Remember our lesson on this skill from yesterday? Make corrections and turn in for full credit. Miss Mitchell. Estimate the product to check for reasonableness. Solve using an area model and the standard algorithm. I don't know what an area model is. Miss Mitchell! Miss Mitchell, Miss Mitchell, Miss Mitchell, Miss Mitchell, Miss Mitchell!
Yes, Brittany, I'll be right there.
I don't know what an area model is or how to estimate the product to check for reasonableness. See, I don't even know how to say it. Did you teach us that? I don't think you taught us that. And besides, my mom, she taught me this way. She said that this is the right way. This is how I needed to know how to do it. She said this new math was not good.
Your mom is right. It's important to know how to use the standard algorithm, but do you know where partial products come from?
No.
Try to remember our lesson from yesterday where we went over all of these skills, Brittany.
Okay.
All right, guys, if you can hear me, clap once. Good job. If you can hear me, clap twice. All right, so now it is time for us to get into today's lesson. Today we're going to learn how to estimate the product to check for reasonableness. We're going to solve using an area model as well as the standard algorithm. So make sure that you have your dry erase markers and your whiteboards, and make sure that you guys are following along as I'm working through the problem on my whiteboard. All right, you guys ready? All right, let's go. All right, guys, so let's take a look at our directions. It says to first estimate the product to check for reasonableness, solve using an area model, and the standard algorithm. So we have three things that we need to do to answer this question correctly. Now let's read the word problem and underline the important information. General admission to the American Museum of Natural History is $18. That's important information there. So I'm going to go ahead and underline that $18. If a group of 128 students visits the museum, how much will the group's tickets cost? So that next important piece of information there is 128 students. So looking back at the directions, the first thing that we needed to do was to estimate the product to check for reasonableness. So I'm going to start by looking at the number 128. I'm either going to round that number up or down. So based on the 8 there, that lets me know that I need to round it up to 130. Next, we take a look at 18. 18 is closer to 20, so we're going to round 18 up to 20. It's important to note that both of these numbers we've rounded up. So our estimate is actually going to be a little bit more than the actual product when we do the math. I know that 13 times 2 equals 26, and then I can just add my 2 zeros there, and so my estimate is actually going to be $2,600. The next step is to solve using an area model. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my area model for 3-digit by 2-digit multiplication. When we're using an area model, we are going to decompose our numbers. Remember, decompose means to separate or to take apart. So I have a 3-digit number up top and a 2-digit number across. When I decompose 128, it becomes 100 plus 20 plus 8. And when I decompose 18, it becomes 10 plus 8. Now we're actually getting to the point where we're going to start seeing our partial products. So I set up the multiplication problems in each individual box or area. I'm going to have 100 times 10, 20 times 10, and 8 times 10. And then that bottom row, I'm gonna have 100 times 8, 20 times 8, and 8 times 8. So now the next step would be to actually solve these partial products. I know that 1 times 1 is 1. And so then I add my 3 zeros there, and that gives me 1,000 for that first partial product there. I'm going to follow those same steps. 2 times 1 is 2, and then I add my 2 zeros, and that gives me 200. 8 times 1 is 8, and I add my 0, and it gives me 80. And now I move to the next row. 1 times 8 is 8. I add 2 zeros, that gives me 800. 2 times 8 is 16, and I add a 0, that gives me 160. And I know that 8 times 8 equals 64. So these are my partial products now. So you see that we have 2 rows. I'm going to go ahead and add those 2 rows up. I'm going to do 1,000 plus 200 plus 80, and then I'm going to do 800 plus 160 plus 64. Pay close attention to the 2 individual partial products that we just got, 1,280 and 1,024, because I guarantee you're going to see them again when we actually do the standard algorithm. And so now I'm going to add 1,280 to 1,024, and I have an answer of $2,304. The final step was to solve using the standard algorithm. So here I'm just going to do 128 times 18. That's what the standard algorithm is. The first step when we're multiplying using the standard algorithm is to multiply the number in the ones place. So we're actually doing 128 times 8 ones. And you notice we still get the same partial product of 1,024. We add a 0 because now we're moving to the tens place. And so it's like we're multiplying 128 times 10. And when we do that, we still get the same partial product of 1,280. From there, we can add both numbers up, or both partial products, and we still get the same final product of $2,304.
Oh, Miss Mitchell, you did teach us that. I forgot. Can I have a new sheet of paper so I can solve it the right way? Thanks, Miss Mitchell.